During the next half hour, we'll hear from Archbishop Blase Cupich on the significance of the Year of Mercy. We'll also hear from catechists across the Archdiocese on the important role they play in passing on the faith. And we'll meet a local sister whose passion for cooking has brought national attention to the critical need of feeding the hungry in our local neighborhoods. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
The Archdiocese of Chicago is a vibrant and diverse faith community. We celebrate our faith through worship, evangelization, and reaching out to the needy. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
Hello, I'm Todd Williamson, Director of the Office for Divine Worship for the Archdiocese of Chicago, and joining me, as always, here in studio, Archbishop Blase Cupich. Archbishop, it's good to see you.
Good to be with you, Todd. Thanks.
Thank you very much. We're recording this session just about the start of the Jubilee of Mercy, the Holy Year called for by Pope Francis. What do you see as the significance of that theme of mercy for us?
Well, the Holy Father has emphasized the mercy of God throughout his pontificate, realizing that it is part of the teaching of the Church that has not received the attention that it should. And so in this whole year, he's looking for a way to bring about reconciliation in the world. We have various conflicts and wars, different threats that are out there because of terrorism. But also, he wants to have that mercy filter down in our everyday lives for each one of us to receive the mercy of God, to be open to that, but also to be agents of mercy for one another.
The Holy Door plays a significant part in the observance of the Holy Year. There's a Holy Door at St. Peter's Basilica. We have designated a Holy Door at our own cathedral. You've designated a number of places in the Archdiocese, shrines and parishes that have. What's the significance of the door?
Well, of course, whenever you pass through a door, you pass over a threshold. Mm-hmm. And we use that word threshold so often to mark a change in life, a change in perspective, a way in which we enter into some new place. And so the Holy Father is inviting us to find ourselves in a new place during this year, maybe to leave behind a way of acting and behaving, an attitude, a feeling, emotion that has enslaved us, and pass into a new space.
Nice. The Pope has offered an indulgence for anybody who walks through these doors of mercy at the cathedral or at the designated places that you've named. That's one way that Catholics can observe this Year of Mercy. How else can we observe this?
Well, of course, in the Archdiocese, we're asking every Catholic to pick one of the corporal or spiritual works of mercy. And that is something that we feel is a way to engage people in an individual way, or maybe a family would like to pick one. I think it's important that to recognize that the Year of Mercy, the Jubilee of Mercy, coincides with the Synod on Family that we just completed. And it might be appropriate for a family to discuss and sit down and think about a corporal or spiritual mercy that they would like to embrace.
The Jubilee of Mercy begins on December 8th, but one of the big events will be the opening of the Holy Door on the third Sunday of Advent, on December 13th.
Right.
It's a beautiful rite. It's a really powerful.
It is. So the Holy Father wanted to, he picked December the 8th for a number of reasons. First of all, it was the 50th anniversary of the Second Vatican Council.
Right.
But he also wanted to honor Our Lady, whose feast day, the Immaculate Conception, is on that day. That it is an opportunity for us to come into a new life as she did as well. Mm-hmm. So I think all of those come together very well. And of course, he will be asking us in our own dioceses to celebrate this, as you mentioned, on the 13th, December, and we'll be having Mass at the Cathedral to do just that.
It's a wonderful procession from the auditorium to the door. You call for the door to be opened.
Right.
The doors, you'll open the doors physically. Then you'll present the Book of the Gospels to everyone inside the cathedral. Turn around, everybody who had processed from the auditorium. It's going to be a very, very nice celebration.
Well, and the Holy Father already had a door opening in Bangui, Central Africa.
I saw that, yeah.
And so in many ways, he preempted even St. Peter's Basilica by saying that mercy needs to be shown to those people who are suffering the greatest in the world. And surely the people in Central Africa, the Central African Republic, are suffering a great deal today.
You mentioned that just a few moments ago. You mentioned some of the other experiences of violence and of unrest in the world. We just recently had to live through the terror attacks in Paris, where some 130 people lost their lives. We see effects of that here. What can Catholics, how can we turn to our faith in looking at all of this in our world?
Well, first of all, I think we should speak with great admiration about the French people, the way they came together in solidarity. Yeah. It really was admirable for them to reach out to those who were wounded, those who lost their lives. I think that it's moments like this that we should allow not to divide us in society, but to unite us. And so I think the French people really offered us a good example. But I think as well, we want to make sure that we don't allow terrorists to achieve their goals. That is to make us panic and fearful, but also to divide us. That's why I think we need to make sure that we look for ways in which we're going to reach out to those who are in need, those who are fleeing violence from their country, the various refugees. There are 60 million refugees in the world today, and 30 million of them are children. They're suffering, many of them, because of war and conflict in their own land. And so it seems to me that we should not let the terrorists win. America should not let the terrorists win by allowing their goals of fear and division to be achieved.
And those of us in Chicago, with everything that's been going on in our own city, shouldn't let that violence and that fear win, right?
Exactly. I think it should be an opportunity to draw us together and to say, we have some real serious problems that we have to deal with. Let's come together as a city. Let's look for a way in which we can allow these tragedies that we have happening on our streets not to divide us, but to unite us and to solve some of the problems that are out there. And I think that this really is a test for the character of our city to step forward.
Archbishop, our own folks in our own archdiocese have kind of done just that. Students from Queen of All Saints Basilica had an experience, a tri-faith experience, if you will, with children of the Jewish faith and Muslim as well. The day included a tour of Queen of All Saints Basilica. Mike May of our radio TV office caught up with the principal, Mr. Peter Tantillo, who explained this tri-faith experience.
Poetry Pals is the name of the organization that sponsors this. This happens to be a tri-faith experience between fourth graders from three schools, a Catholic school, a Jewish school, and a Muslim school. The children from the three schools gathered here. They got to know one another. They broke into small groups. They've been preparing for this, making name tags and that sort of thing. They did a few activities, but then we went into our worship space, the Basilica, and they got a tour of the Basilica. They got a chance to hear about Catholic worship and Catholic beliefs, and saw the worship space. Our next visit will be to the Jewish school, and when we go to the Jewish school, we'll do a similar kind of activity, tour their local synagogue, and learn about Judaism. The next activity will be at a Muslim school, and we will have similar kinds of experiences there in the same way these kids learned about Catholicism today.
What a significant experience for those students.
It's very admirable and very inspiring.
I mean, certainly a way to begin learning to live with others who are different, of different faiths, at a young age.
That's right, and it is so appropriate for the Year of Mercy, isn't it?
It is. The Year of Mercy, it's appropriate for the Advent season in many ways. It calls us to look to that time when all people will live in peace and justice, and it's a wonderful, wonderful season. What is the significance of Advent for you, Archbishop?
Well, Advent is that time of preparation, of allowing in our own lives a space to grow, to receive the Lord. The readings that we have are so very clear about how we are to make room in the inn, of course, as we hear on the night of Christmas itself. But that really should be a theme for all of Advent. What have we cluttered our lives up with so much that we have not allowed space for Christ to come into our lives? So often we want to fill our lives with all sorts of things that we think are going to fill them, even in a temporary way. It's good to consider what really fills our lives, what gives us fulfillment. And so time of prayer, preparation, silence is a big important part of Advent.
I was just thinking that the documents about the seasons and liturgical year talk about Advent as a time of expectant joy. And really that kind of stance goes very well with that stillness and silence, huh?
Right, it does. And I think that you mentioned the word expectation. I think that every Christian, as we prepare for the season of Advent, has to, in their prayer, say to the Lord that he or she really expects something new to happen in their life. I think that sense of hopefulness, something will change in this season by God's grace. It is that the way in which we join Mary in asking the Lord to give birth to something new in us.
That's wonderful. You know, Advent itself, along with the rest of the liturgical year, is one of the prime elements of our faith that catechists and religious educators pass on to the youth. We recently here in Chicago had a catechetical gathering. You were there on both of those days, Friday and Saturday, and it was a wonderful time for the catechists themselves to be supported by you and to encourage each other and support one another. Our TV and radio office put together a video that was shown there, and we have an opportunity to show it to our viewers now. It's entitled Called to be a Catechist. Let's take a look.
Great. Catechists are important because they are the ones that the Church charges to hand on the faith to the next generation. And it means that, first of all, they have to know the faith themselves and also embrace it. So the role of the catechist in the life of the Church is not only a matter of teaching, but witness. Catechesis is about helping people walk along the way of Jesus.
The role of the catechist is to really de-echo not only our faith, but also the echo example of Jesus. So what we do is we invite people from many different parishes and communities to come forward and to teach the gospel of Christ to the next generation of Catholics.
My role, I would think, is to help the children to develop a closer relationship with God.
A faith-based education in Catholic schools and religious education programs is extremely important in today's world. Our children are facing increasing challenges in their lives. They need a moral compass, they need a faith compass, and our teachers help to provide that for them.
The importance of a faith-based education is really the whole child. So we're looking at the academic, the social, emotional, and most importantly the spiritual, our Catholic faith, and how we integrate it in everything we do.
For me, it's important because I've always been Catholic and I want my children to follow the religion that I have.
I kind of see the catechist like the gospel of the sower and the seed. You might think that it's a tiny seed that you're planting of faith, but then if you plant that seed and allow the Lord and the Holy Spirit to work, it grows. And it grows for not only the individual, but it continues to add life and vibrancy to our church.
It's all based on our faith, which is what, I grew up at home and knowing our faith and God and loving every minute of it, and all of our celebrations and all of our traditions and everything, and be able to pass that on to our kids and to future generations that will eventually be standing where I am today. And that's just a great feeling to be a part of this.
You can't really describe it, like how they grow and the questions that they come in with, and the, last year during Lent we would talk about the scripture every day, and we did a prayer challenge with the church, and every day they would come in with other questions, and it was deepening my faith. Like I was having to look things up, and we were really taking it to the next level, and it was great to see their brains turning and really like, wow, how can I make a difference? How can I help others? How can I live the words that Jesus taught us?
By using real life situations where we can go to God in prayer in good times and in bad times, to know that God is always there for us in that time of need.
Here in the art room, we actually incorporate a lot of the same religious themes that students are learning in their classrooms or in religious class in the art room.
You look around the culture today, you look around some of the schools, and even in our Catholic schools, and just what we're trying to get back to is really like the roots of our faith. And just a really good opportunity to do that with the third graders, even something as simple as teaching like the sign of the cross, some of the basic prayers. If you ask the kids, they'll tell you the theme of our year is to meet Christ, to know Christ, and to love Christ. And so that's what we're trying to do.
It's important for me to learn about Jesus and God because I'm a Christian, and I guess Christians have to know what they are in order to be Christian or pray, because then you know who you're praying to.
It's definitely something in it for me. I believe that there's a fulfillment. I do believe I'm called to be a catechist. When I first started studying at CTU, I didn't think of myself as a minister, and then I realized this is ministry.
I like to come to religious education because I get to learn about God and Jesus.
What I learn about when I go to class is more about the Catholic faith and more about God and learning about all what He wanted for us.
You kind of have to do those teachable moments. There's going to be a question that you might not know, but it's kind of interesting and fun to say, hey, you know what? Like, I'm learning too, and let's see where that goes, and let's research that more and grow together. And I think that you learn from them just as much as they learn from you.
Me ha ayudado porque mi hijo, el otro James, tiene una disabilidad.
It's helped me because my son James has a disability, and so far he is very happy and has helped in the church. He likes coming to help, and my other son likes to attend church events. And for me, it's important so they don't pick up other things on the street.
My faith helps me make a lot of decisions and helps me choose the right thing. Like if I'm trying to decide whether to do one thing, I usually think, oh, is this going to be the right thing to do?
I like catechesis because I get to learn more about Jesus.
Well, I like it because we learn that we're all one body, so even if we're different in many ways, we still believe in God, and we're part of one big family.
Personally, being a catechist is one of the best things in my life. I love interacting with the children. I love learning from the children. They know so much, and they are so committed already at a young age to the works of the church. It's a gift for me to be able to share with them, to share my life and to share in their lives.
I do encourage any of you thinking about becoming a catechist or a Catholic school teacher to take seriously that call and know that you have my support 100%.
There's so much more to learn about the Catholic faith. Some people may know think they know everything, but there's so much more to know, and we're always looking for those catechists to help enrich our religious education program.
Being a catechist, whether in religious education program or in a Catholic school, is a great privilege, and I truly believe that everyone should consider in some stage of their life serving that way in the church.
If somebody has opened that invitation out, God is calling you. It's not the person, but God is using that person that wants you to be a part of this ministry. And yeah, just go for it.
We absolutely rely upon the talents, the vision, the faith of the men and women who accept the call to teaching. And so I would encourage each person who feels that they have that call to pursue it, to look into the training, the licensing, the opportunities that are out there. They will help to change lives, and we need them now more than ever.
My family, it's really important to them because they want me to know, they want me to be a teacher about religious education one day. So it's really important, like 100% important.
I applaud anyone who will say, "Send me, Lord. I want to be a catechist. I want to teach the faith." It's very easy in our society or in our church to say, "He can do it," or "She can do it. Someone else will do it." But the Lord is asking all of us to contribute, all of us to share. And anyone who says yes to the Lord, saying, "I am willing to share my faith," not only do I applaud them, but I thank them. It's the right thing to do, and it's going to make our church continue to be vibrant for the future.
That was a very well done video, and the catechists and the teachers responded well to it at the gathering.
Well, and I was so glad to have a chance not only to address them, but to visit with them afterwards. And these are very dedicated people who give a lot of volunteer hours to pass on the faith. And sometimes they don't find the support all the time that they really deserve from families and parents who turn their children over for their education. And so I think that it's very important, I think, for everybody to show appreciation for the wonderful work they do.
I'm smiling because I recall the comment that you made about how oftentimes the assumption is that parents will drop off their children and then pick up.
Well, they drop off their child and they go do the grocery shopping, go to the bank, pick up the laundry and come back and think they can pick up a Catholic. But it really does, I think, have to happen in the family. So many families are very good at it, but I know that a number of catechists really struggle when there doesn't seem to be that family support there. And so my hope would be to show appreciation of the catechists for what they do.
Our final story, Archbishop, let me ask you this as we start. Do you like to cook?
I do.
Do you really?
I find it relaxing. I don't know if the people who taste my food like me to cook, but I enjoy it because I like it relaxes me.
Oh,
yes.
I know what you mean. I enjoy cooking too. We actually have a story about a Franciscan sister whose culinary skills have tossed her into the national spotlight, all for the good of those in need here in Chicago. Jim Dish and Brian Brock caught up with Sister Alicia Torres, a winner on the Food Network's popular cooking competition program, Chopped.
This could be a college dorm erupting in cheers for a home team victory, but it's not. These are Mundelein seminarians celebrating a win for Sister Alicia Torres on the Food Network's cooking competition program, Chopped. She competed in a special Thanksgiving edition of Chopped that featured 4 people who cook for missions or shelters. Sister Alicia works at the Mission of Our Lady of the Angels, where Franciscans of the Eucharist of Chicago serve residents in the West Humboldt Park neighborhood. So how does she feel about getting tossed into the national spotlight?
I had a ton of fun, and it was really humbling to represent the church and the poor and, of course, our Lord in such a public way.
One of Sister Alicia's biggest cheerleaders is Father Bob Lombardo, who came to Chicago on the invitation of Cardinal George to establish the mission in one of Chicago's poorest areas.
Oh, everybody's ecstatic. It's amazing, the positive word that we've gotten. I think in light of this being the year for consecrated life, it's been great to see a young religious woman, a young woman who's consecrated her life to serve God and the church and our neighbor in need. I think all of it put together has just been so positive. It's been electrifying.
We interviewed Sister Alicia while she and plenty of volunteers were preparing food for a community dinner. She told us about the injury she got while competing, a chopped finger.
Their knives were wonderful and really, really sharp. So I was cutting my potatoes, and as I'm cutting my potatoes, one of the knives just cut my finger. And so they told us, if you cut your finger, you have to let us know right away, because if you get any human body product on the board, on your food, on your knife, you lose all of it. You lose your product. So I was right away like, oh, I cut my finger, and the medic ran in, and I'm like, forget this, I'm competing. So I kept cutting with my other hand. I was not at all like thrown off. I was like, I'm just gonna keep doing this because this is for God.
About 150 people would be served at this community dinner. There would also be warm winter clothing donated for those in need. and before dinner, a prayer service in Our Lady of the Angels Church.
For us as Franciscans, as religious, it's really important that we share our faith with our brothers and sisters here on the west side. So there'll be a short prayer service with scripture and a reflection and some petitions, and then we'll come down and share this meal together. And we try to sit with the neighbors. Our volunteers also sit with them. So we don't just serve the food, we also try to build a community.
The connection the mission is making with the community is strong, as evidenced by the turnout for events like this. And what do the neighbors think about Sister Alicia's foray into cooking stardom?
I'm proud of her. You know, I mean, anytime somebody in the community doing well or doing something, you know, it's always nice to, you know, be able to know them and congratulate them, because at least somebody doing something, you know. So.
All the food is wonderful. I mean, it's nothing here's bad. Everything she cooks is great. You know, I'd be surprised if they have any leftovers. Trust me. It's wonderful.
Way to go. Way to go. We are so proud as a neighborhood.
Amid the neighborhood pride comes the reality of people in need and a plea from Father Bob.
You know, this time of the year with Thanksgiving and Christmas, it's always a great time when people think about those in need. And I always remind people that the hunger issues are just as prevalent in March and in April, May, and June.
My hope is that my relationship with Jesus and my love for him will shine through what I do and who I am, and that people will be inspired or perhaps curious to think about, gee whiz, maybe I could think about my own relationship with God, and maybe that would help me in my life, because it does. Our relationship with God is so essential. And then also that everybody has something they can share with those in need, maybe time, talent, or treasure. And how can we all reflect on the gifts that we have and how we can share them with our brothers and sisters so that together we really can end hunger in our country.
And one small step in the fight against hunger is the $10,000 first prize Sister Alicia won on Chopped, money the Franciscans will use to buy food for their neighborhood. With photographer Brian Brock, I'm Jim Dish, reporting from the Mission of Our Lady of the Angels.
For more information on how you can volunteer or make a donation to the Mission of Our Lady of the Angels, go to missionola.com. Archbishop, what a great example, what a great experience for that one person who came out a winner in this competition.
Well, and doesn't it show us that the Year of Mercy is something that is already happening here in the Archdiocese of Chicago. It happens every day by the merciful hands of so many good people who feed the hungry, who shelter the homeless. So the Year of Mercy should come easy for us because we practice it, I think, every day here.
Well, Archbishop, you've brought us full circle. That's where we began the program. That's where we're ending as we wrap up here. However, we said we're filming during Advent. Christmas is right around the corner. Maybe an opportunity for you to wish our viewers a happy Christmas.
Well, thanks for this opportunity to do so. And I want to wish all of you and your families a blessed and holy, happy Christmas. I know that you have students coming home from school, others who are visiting you during this season, or maybe you're traveling yourself. My hope is that as you do the traveling, as you welcome others into your home in these days, that it will be a time of great grace for all of you. I, in a special way, want to assure those who are sick and ailing, those who are recovering from surgeries and cancer treatments, have a special place in my prayer. On Christmas morning, I'll be going to Cook County Jail again. And so it's important for us, I think, to always make sure that we pray for those who are imprisoned, those who in some way are trying to get their life back together. It's a time of great grace, and my prayers are for all of you, no matter what your struggle is. Merry Christmas.
Archbishop, thank you very much. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us today.
Thanks.
Always good to be with you. Happy Advent.
Thank you. Thank you, Todd.
All right. I'm Todd Williamson from the Office for Divine Worship. Thanks for watching Catholic Chicago.
We invite you to watch segments of Catholic Chicago and hundreds of additional Catholic videos at youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter.